Hi, I'm Sam, Flying Kite. This is the Horror Show. It's week 13, and this week I am doing The Thing. Let me tell you real quick what the synopsis is, and then my synopsis. A group of scientists researching an alien spaceship found in Antarctic come face to face with the ship's not quite dead occupant. But in my synopsis, a better remake of the original The Thing from Another World than the acclaimed remake The Thing, JC's The Thing. And I'm going to tell you why, real quick. But first, a word from our sponsor. Oh gosh, I don't want to ever become that kind of YouTuber. If I'm still doing this stuff like 2, 3, 4 years from now and it grows like crazy, I really don't want to be that kind of person who's like, blah, 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 blah. But first, a word from our sponsor. Come on. It's like, I just want to watch the video. And I'm sure, some of you do too. It's directed by, I'm going to butcher the crap out of his name. I'm sorry. Matthijs van Heijningen Jr. I'm so sorry. It was composed, I kind of say that because it's like, it says he did, but like, I don't know, it just felt weird, but he composed it, and it says anyway. Marco Beltrami, who also composed iRobot, Hellboy, Blade 2, and World War Z, which is kind of interesting, because I don't really hear. Well, I've seen Hellboy. I technically have seen iRobot, but I don't really remember it much. I've never seen Blade 2, but I have seen World War Z. And, I don't really hear it, like, similarities. And usually, you hear similarities between guys. Maybe I'm just, maybe there are, and I just don't remember right now. But, Mary Elizabeth Winston plays Kate Lloyd. Joel Edgerton plays Carter. Ulrich Thompson plays Dr. Sander. Eric Christian Olsen plays Adam Finch. Jonathan Walker plays Colin. Stig Henrik Hoff plays Peter. Christopher Hivaju plays Jonas. Jorgen Langhale plays Lars. Now, there's a lot more characters and actors in this movie, but I didn't want to go and say the whole, all that list, because there's a couple more, like, American characters and a couple more Norwegian characters. But still. It came out in 2011. I already said that. Well, I didn't already say that, but we're 3 minutes in the video. Now I'm saying when it came out. A couple of things before we start going into the rating system. There's a few things about this movie that frustrates the crap out of me. This movie's potential, through the roof. It really could have been something great. And, it's still a fine movie. I'm still gonna have it, like, a really good grade. But, like, IMDb has it, like, a 6.2 out of 10. And, like, 150K people rated it. Like, that's not a terrible way of viewing this movie. It really lacks in a lot of things. But I'm being really optimistic about this, because there are things I do really like about the movie that are 5s, and then the 4s are probably more realistically 3s, but, if you're really positive about it, then it makes sense. But, I guess a few things. One, this is gonna sound really awful, but I could totally see it's not old, the kind of idea that, like, the main female character is smarter and makes more sense and is like, be good. I mean, it's fine being the good guy. There are a lot of great independent female characters like Ripley, I don't remember, from Alien. But, like, when, a few characters say something and it's like, they sound like they're stupid, but she's the one that's like, she already figured it all out, kind of thing. And it's like, come on. But there's a quote that she says in this movie. I don't have it exactly, like, verbatim marked down, but it really, like, it just kind of makes a lot of sense into all of this whole thing. Now, a little pretext before I give you the quote. It's not, like, verbatim. Matthijs, the director, allegedly, I don't know if it's like 100% true, but it makes sense. He wanted the entire cast to be Norwegian because it takes place in a Norwegian camp. If you're not familiar, this is a prequel movie. 5 minutes in and I'm saying this now. This is a prequel movie based on the Norwegian camp that McCready and Dr. Copper find in The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing. So this is the story of what happened to this camp. What was it going on? But, the studio's like, we just gotta put some American actors in there. So, Mary Elizabeth Winston and Joel Edgerton and, a couple others to be like, hey, look, you know them. Which, that's fine. I mean, that whole thing was fine, but you can tell at moments that there's a lot of really good chemistry, but there's some, forced chemistry, I guess. Because it's not terrible, but it's forced, and you could totally tell. It's like, ugh. But, Kate Lloyd says something. So, they get up there, they see the ship, and then they get back to camp, and they're all kind of having a plan on how to, dig up the thing that's in the ice, because they find that too. And she says a quote, something along the lines of, you guys figured it out, don't think you need me anymore, basically. I don't know why I'm still here. And it's like, that's a big joke in the whole idea of, she wasn't supposed to be even in this movie. The American actors aren't even supposed to be in this movie. But here we are. Which is fine. I mean, I'm fine with that, but it's just funny that I, never really noticed that until this time I watched it. It's I really see it now. But as I said, it's fine. Just, make it natural. Don't force it. And it's when you have to force it like that, it just really sucks. But that's not the thing that really frustrates me about this movie. We'll get to that later. But first, a word from our sponsor. If you ever get the Universal copy of The Thing, or maybe even any kind of DVD, there's a bunch of deleted and extended scenes. There's a lot more that's cut, because there's a trailer I saw, there's some scenes that aren't even in the deleted scenes in this movie, and on, this DVD. So, there's a lot more content, a lot more footage cut, and this movie was probably supposed to go in a bit of a different direction, even with the American actors, but, anyway. There's a reference to The Thing from Another World. Now, given, that movie's a black and white, so you wouldn't really know it if you didn't know it. But the thing in that movie is technically green. And there's a reference being is it a green man? it's pretty funny. But, okay. So there's two big things I want to talk about before I go in the rating system. One, I really hate how when I'm watching the movie, the CGI looks really bad, and it's really difficult to see if there's a lot of CGI you see, and you can't tell if it's all CGI, or if some of it is, or none of it is. Because I think there's a couple of scenes where it's okay, that's not CGI, that looks great. But then there's other scenes where it's that's doused in CGI. And when you're watching some of the behind the scenes, there's a couple of scenes in the movie that just don't have CGI, and if they do, it's very little because the makeup and such is just really great. But there's a lot of other scenes where it's doused, and it just really sucks because they show the frame by frame transition from what it really looks like to what it looks like in the film, and it's dude, all you had to do in CGI was cut off the head of the person. For example, there's a person that turns into a thing, and the chest basically becomes a big mouth, and enlarged teeth, and it's just a big mouth. Well, person that's in real life, right? Someone it's in that costume, you could see their head. They're wearing all black, but you could see their head. You could tell it's their head. All you have to do in CGI, for the most part, I'm sure there's maybe something you could replace it with, but you just take that head off because it doesn't need to be there. But instead of doing that, they just douse the crap out of it with CGI. No wonder it looks awful. You're dousing it. You don't need to douse it. Just remove a couple of things and then add a couple of things. And then same thing for like the bigger ones near the end of the movie. It's like, come on, dude. Like, this movie could have been so amazing. Maybe, to be completely fair, there's a lot of times where people use practical effects and they look awful. That is true. Like, for an example, no, it's not like it's the awful thing, but like if you go and watch Dawn of the Dead, and like, don't look at the zombies' faces, because that could just tell you already. But like, when there's any blood, it looks like paint. It looks really fake. And there's a lot of it. And so it just looks so unnatural. So like, odd. But it's there. And you kind of live with it. You know, it's fine. You know, you just go with it. But if you want to be legitimately technical about all of this, there's a lot of bad stuff out there. And maybe that's what they were afraid of the studios being. Maybe they were afraid that it's going to look awful. Maybe some of it actually did look awful when it was all said and done. But like, come on. Like, they went off. The people who did this movie for the makeups went off and did Harbinger Down, which I've never seen it. I'm going to try to watch it soon, or figure out if I can watch it soon. That will be a random movie review. But well, maybe it's out before this even comes out. Anyway, point being is that that movie, if best of my knowledge, is completely practical effects. Maybe not necessarily, but I know it's heavily practical effects. It just really sucks that this movie could have been goated. And I'm gonna be really optimistic to sound like I'm praising it. This is on its best day. This is its grade for me anyway. I think there was one more thing. Oh, that one more thing. I got it. So I said earlier this is gonna be a long review. I said earlier in my synopsis that in my synopsis it's a better remake of the OG than the acclaimed remake. My point being, when you're watching this movie, and if you're going tit by tat comparing this movie to The Thing from Another World, and then you go and compare John Carpenter's Thing to The Thing from Another World, there's a lot more parallels in between this thing and that thing than JC's Thing and Thing from Another World. Like, the whole idea of like people going up north, you know. Well, no, actually, they're going to Antarctica, my bad. They filmed up north in Canada, but they're going to Antarctica because something's there. And so a bunch of people, now, there's no army people, it's just a bunch of scientists. That's kind of a difference, but they're still going down there. They find a ship, then they find they find the occupant, and then they dig it up, and then it awakens, and then all heck breaks loose. But I guess the big difference, though, is that, of course, in the original, it's not a shape-shifting alien that, you know, takes over people, and then you don't know who's who, but, you know, it tries to do the best it can. And, I really like that aspect of this movie, because The Thing from Another World, like, it's really easy to take it out. And, like, they try to make it seem like it's really difficult. And, you know, maybe it is a bit difficult. I mean, it's really strong, but, like, you know, it's the same kind of thing. But, like, this version of The Thing kind of goes off and show that, like, hey, if this is what happened to the 50s crew, they're all dead. I think that's what this movie is trying to show and prove. Which I think is very possible. If not, like, that's the world-ending scenario, because it's gonna get out. Right, that's it. We'll go to my ranking. Stories of 4 out of 5. You know what? We're just gonna roll through this because I don't want this being like some 20-minute video. We're gonna go roll through it. As I said, this is its best day. Stories of 4 out of 5. The setting is a 5 out of 5. Now, given the setting and the music is going to be a 5 out of 5 because I just love both of them. Characters are a 4 out of 5. Atmosphere is a 5. No, my bad. Atmosphere is a 4 out of 5. That being, I really love the setting, you know, in Antarctica, the whole, you know, what's going on kind of thing. I love the music. Music's actually really nice in this movie. Characters are fine. Story it's pretty good. It has a lot of good moments, but, you know, kind of moments too. And the atmosphere, all of it mixed together, probably should be a 3, but it's a 4 for me right now. meaning I'm giving it a 4.4 out of 5, which should be the worst out of the 3 out of this trilogy. That's a clear 5 out of 5. Yes, because The Thing from Another World is 4.6. JC's Thing is 5, and then this is a 4.4. So barely worse, but probably realistically is worse. So is really sad because of the potential. You know, you could make something now. You have so much more resources, and this comes up. Come on. Like, if I was really negative, the setting and the music is still a 5 because that's just amazing. But like, the story could drop to like 3, the characters could drop to 2, atmosphere could drop to 2 or 3, and it's gonna still be a fine movie, right? Probably more closer to IMDb's rating, but like, come on, it's like, dude, really? Anyway, I'm Sam, Flying Kite. This was week 13 of the horror show. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do for the next one. It's either going to be 2 things. I'm either going to do another franchise, like Phantasm or something else, or I'm going to do a trilogy of Nosferatu. I think I might do the trilogy of Nosferatu. You'll see next week if you come along on this journey of mine. I hope I see you on the end of the line. Goodbye.